Is going on, y'all? This week I'm joined in the home studio with Uncle Joe from Generations To Hunt Podcasdt. You know, I've known Joe for several years now, and I'm really excited to follow along on his podcasting journey as well as his hunting adventures. And I was so happy and thankful that he was able to come here. He invited me on his show previously where I was able to talk about my recent season's success in Illinois and some other stuff too, my Kansas adventures. But it was a good old-fashioned BS session. No real structure here. Just a lot of willy-nilly talking. Just learning a little bit about who Joe is and what Joe likes to do and where Joe thinks things are going for the future here. For not just Joe as a hunter, but also for Generations To Hunt Podcasdt. And so I hope you enjoy this episode next with Uncle Joe. Thanks. This episode is brought to you by Beefcakes. Beefcakes is not your traditional gym. If you want to lay down between bench presses, go ahead. You want to pee outside? That's fine. Just be mindful of my neighbors. Do you want to not clean up your dumbbells when you're done with them? Go right ahead. Just be prepared for some ridicule. Do you want a chocolate fountain? Do you want a nacho bar? Perhaps you'd like to sit down on one of our fine leather couches and play NHL 22 on the Xbox. Cool. That's great. If you're tired of a traditional big box gym and you still want to get that pump but maybe have a snack, Beefcakes is the gym for you. Come see us today at Beefcakes.
Pace. Off.
Man, as a hockey guy, like I grew up playing hockey my whole entire life. The idea, the symbolism behind a face-off, the mano y mano, the culmination of all your hard work and the intensity when it matters most, truly symbolizes the pursuit of wild game, whether it's deer or turkey or elk or whatever. You have practiced your whole season or your whole off season for that single defining moment, whether it's on the ice or whether it's against, your formidable opponent, that mature white-tailed deer or that wily can't seem to figure out turkey. I struggle with turkeys, if you can't tell by my nervous giggling. Face-off e-bikes, formerly known as stealth hunting e-bikes. Same great bikes, just a brand new name. A little rebranding had to occur to sort of identify themselves, clearly and on the internet. But it's the same great brand. It's the same innovation. It's the same everything that you had at Stealth Hunting e-bikes, just with a new name. These bikes are built and shipped from Michigan, so that is near and dear to my heart. By actually tearing apart and assembling these bikes, he's got this access to replacing parts and creating the perfect mobile to climb these hills. And I am not a slender fellow. I do like my sugars and I like my fried foods, but I'm moderately healthy. I'm 6 foot and I'm over 200 pounds, and I have been putting my bow hunter to the test here in Michigan because I knew that this bike could help me in those scenarios where I needed to climb a hill, whether it be a chisel-plowed cornfield or just some terrain here on my private properties in Michigan. I knew that it could get me from point A to point B, and I have been testing it, and it absolutely gets me where I need to be quickly and quietly. It was incredibly easy to get this bike to my house and do the final assembly in my garage. The entire lineup, honestly, is geared to climb these hills. Custom configured drivetrains and custom fabricated parts. These bikes are suited for the steepest terrain. Now, I haven't done anything crazy like test them out at Attack or any ski hills, but I've seen Dieter do it. Smallest front chainrings in the industry, offering the same motors and batteries as the biggest names in the industry, but at a fraction of the cost. So listen, if you want to make every hunt count, make sure you're using face-off hunting.
Welcome,
e-bikes.
everybody, to another episode of Angel Road Outdoors, the podcast. This, episode 26, I am joined in the home studio, in Angel Road Studios, the newest host of Angel Road Outdoors, Joe Davis. He's actually shutting down Generations To Hunt Podcasdt. He's leaving those guys behind, and he's going to start coming over here every single week to podcast with me. Joe, welcome to the studios.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it, man. April Fools, everybody. Uncle Joe is not shutting down Generations To Hunt Podcasdt. That is the dumbest April Fool's joke I've ever done on anybody. Anybody that listens to his show realizes he is far more established and has way better deal going on than I do. Why would you quit your own podcast in your own house to come over to some fool's house and dick around in the basement? Why would you do that?
I mean, I don't know. We're at a day of age where, you just got to be like a conglomerate. I'll just buy you out.
You could do that.
I could just buy you out.
I am certainly...
We're at that level of the podcast where we're just
believe me, I know.
buying other podcasts.
That's right.
If you're not good at your own podcast, you just buy other people's podcasts.
You are the Donald Trump of podcasting.
Can't wait to file taxes this year, then.
Your studio is now Trump Towers for sure.
Yeah. I don't know if I want to be there.
Make podcasting great again.
I 100% agree on that. There's a lot of podcasts out there. So
there is, and it's going to be hard to make everybody great again.
Yeah, there's very, very, very slim pickings when there's a great one.
Well, anybody that doesn't know Joe, why don't you take a little time and introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about you, your show, your family, what you do for a living.
All right. I can kind of give you the unfiltered one,
Please.
Since we're all friends.
Swearing is encouraged here.
Awesome, dude. Well, I'm Joe. I'm about 32 years old, and I just kind of one day grew in a small town. I moved away, and I just kind of lost touch with my dad, and I didn't really want to do that anymore. So I got back into hunting to get closer to him, and then I moved out of the city, thank God, and moved to the country, and then I kind of just like, hey, I really got a good job. I want to get a bow. And I got a bow, and it was straight addiction after that. Like 23, 24. Oh, it just hit me so hard. And it wasn't in the hunting aspect.
Years old.
Yes.
Okay.
And it wasn't in the hunting aspect. It was the archery side of it, to be honest. It was like, I just remember doing it in Boy Scouts and all that, and just doing it in the backyard. And it just hit me so hard, and I just kind of dove deep with it, and then just started that hunting, with my dad, just, turned into an annual camp. It was like, hey, I want to go before camp. And then it just progressed in a spiral. Like, I just got addicted to it. And so after all that, I just started getting in outdoors, and I wanted to kind of like document things. And I didn't really want to do that YouTube thing of it, because I think everybody was kind of in that YouTube craze. I think that was like really when Hunting Public kind of took launch, and I was just like, well, I listened to a couple podcasts, so I'll start doing podcasts, and I'll just start talking about it. I know I'm not Dan Infalt or any of Andre DeQuisco's. Like, I'm none of them guys. Like, if you want to learn to hunt big bucks, don't come and see my podcast. You know what I mean? And I just want to put that out there. Like, I'm not that guy. So, but I just like to document stuff, and that's why I started the podcast, and kind of just spiraled, man. Just going out west, getting in love with going out west, and talking to new people.
How old were you when you first went out west?
Oh, man. I was like 28.
Damn. That's awesome.
It sucked. I'm really mad about it. I was actually talking to somebody about that, about how I was kind of robbed of it, not knowing that, like, that existed, to be honest. Like, I always, and this is on myself, but I always ask somebody, hey, you want to go out west? Hey, you want to go out west? Oh, maybe next year. And then when it came time to it, it's hard to plan a trip in like 2 or 3 months or something like that. Mm-hmm. So I always just like put it on the back burner. And then eventually I got to a point where I was just like, dude, you're going to go out there and you're probably going to not have a good time, but you're going to have to do it either with complete strangers. So I hooked up with a couple guys like Kurt Geyer from the Working Class Bow Hunter and stuff. And they were having stuff. So I went out there with them guys, complete strangers, but just went out there and I was like, dude, and I just kind of fell in love with it. I kind of miss. Last year was like the first year I didn't go. I'm trying to go this year, but I don't know. I just had a new baby. So, but it's It was a real eye opener, man. Like I don't know. It's hard to explain.
Well, when you say you feel like you were robbed, are you saying that you feel like you were robbed because you started later in life than you would have wanted to?
Yes, because if I
feel that,
and I work construction. I'm an elevator mechanic. I'm probably gonna be humping rail if you know what rail is.
Humping rail.
It's not as glorious. It's not. What's the elevator travels on, but it's basically saying you're gonna be building new elevators. So it's tough work. Everything on elevators heavy. Yeah, everything's metal, hard. It's heavy or it's sharp or it's gonna electrocute you. That's the three things on that. So I think with my body, I'm gonna be good till like 60. So if you put it, I'm 32 right now. I got maybe 20 years left to going out west, maybe in me. It's tough out there.
Man, I have said that. I really have. I know that feeling about how many years you think you got left. And it's hard to say it in a positive way. Yeah. Like, I have really been trying to work hard on saying things that could be thought of as negative in a positive way to change the perspective on them. So where you say, I've maybe got 20 years left, I've said the same thing about Iowa. So if it takes 5 years to get an archery draw in Iowa, if I only have 20 good years left to where I want to be mobile, I only can go to Iowa maybe 4 times. Yeah. And so I'm trying to say, like, I get to go to Iowa 4 more times. It's hard to say that because it's such a low number, but I think about the same thing, man. Yeah. Why did I not know about all this shit when I was 20 years old?
And, with Iowa, and I'm not a big guide, guy. Yeah. But and I don't think you are either. It's just like, there's like a certain age you can do guides. It might make your stuff easier, but like maybe the Midwest stuff, I'm not saying that stuff is easy. You still got to hunt. But the mountains, some of the mountains, man, even with on horseback, man, they're really unforgiving on you. And
fuck yeah.
So that's what, like, I saying, like, and, I got 20 good years left to go on that mountain and stuff. Like, I know I got a young family. There's going to be years I can't do that.
There damn sure will.
There's going to be a lot of time. So even if you cut that in half, I don't know.
It's a double-edged sword because we are young and your family is young, and you'll never get both of those things back. Yeah. You'll never be any younger than you are today, and your kids will never be any younger than they are today. Right. And so that time is fleeting, and so you're chasing this dragon of like, so I have a book out there called Off Balance on Purpose. I haven't read it, but I know what the sentiment is because I started to and then I set it back down. But it's like, stop trying to be balanced, because you never will be. Something will always be a little off balance, and that chasing to the perfect level, will just keep throwing things off a little bit, and that's okay. But I know what you're saying, man, because I'm 43, so I got 10 years on you. I'm 43.
You look great.
Thank you. Appreciate that. So I when you say I'm stressed because I've only got a certain amount of years left, I get a little anxious over here. My heart's palpitating now. I'm thinking, I got even less time than Uncle Joe's got. Well, shit, man.
Well, you're a lot more fitter than me. Well, I think you got a good 30 more years.
This is my sentiment recently, and I've been telling everybody this, is fucking do it. If it's on your mind, and I think this is what you were saying earlier, where you were like, I tried to get people to do things with me, and it wasn't working. And so I waited and I waited and I waited and I waited. Stop. If anybody's listening to this and they can take anything away from this, don't wait. Yeah. Do it this year.
Yeah. And I understand there's a lot of burden, it's like, it's hard to justify because I went out west, 4 years ago, and I didn't even see a bear in like 500 yards. And like, I already booked my trip for the next year.
Yeah.
And like, people are like, what? Like, before I even left, I was like, I'm coming back. Like, they don't, I don't know. It's like so hard. Like, I show people videos, but it's just like, it's just like, it was a thing. It was just like, okay, it wasn't, the experience is nuts. It's crazy. And this could be bear hunting. This could be anything but there was like a certain amount, like, I was just like, all right, I'm going to put my body through this rigorous thing. Like, the biggest thing is I want to do before my hunting career is over, and I say career lightly because I know how that sounds. I wanted to go do an Alaskan drop camp, and it's not even to hunt moose. It was literally to go out there and test my body.
Sure.
To see, because you're literally alone. I mean, you'll have maybe hopefully I have some friends or somebody I
Yeah.
go with. You're going to be wet. It's not going to be a good time. It's literally going to be, you're going to have 7-10 days or whatever it is. I think it's usually like 10-day drop camps, but you're like out there for like 8 to 8 or something. Oops, sorry.
It's okay. I'll edit that out.
Oh, sorry. But yeah, it's just to test my body, and it's just like that's what been really like driving me whitetail and like out west.
Mhm.
Like I'm not a super big Westie. I've never gone like mule deer hunting and nothing. It's on my list for sure. But like that's just been driving me like, okay, what you can do. Like, and like the biggest thing was like targeting mature whitetails in pressured areas like Michigan and stuff. Like it's a nasty addiction. It's not a good one if you're not if you're lighthearted, like don't.
Right.
But like to chase your dreams, go do it right now.
100%.
Max that credit card out. I mean, it's probably not the best thing to finance. I'm not a financial
Once
advisor.
the economy collapses and the world goes to shit, you're going to default. Everybody's going to default on their credit cards anyway, so just YOLO.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, what are they going to come literally take you away? Nah, you're all right.
Come on over.
So, but I mean, I'm not really an expiring person, but I think there's just a lot of things out there. That's why I say I was robbed because of, I don't know what your prime of your life is. I don't know how long I have. I have a dangerous job, and hopefully I make it till the very end, but I don't know when's the last time it is. I don't want to be sitting there contemplating going, what did I miss out on?
That's exactly right.
So
I could not possibly agree more, but I feel you, man, and I think that's awesome. And I think a lot of podcasts go an entire 60 to 90 minutes before they reach absolute, like the pinnacle of the show where there's like this emotional, monumental statement to take away. But I think you just did it right there. You never know when that last hunt is, man.
Yeah, no, I'm an average Joe, so I just kind of come in quick and go out.
That's what she said.
Yeah, no, I was waiting for the pun. So, but I mean, I don't, like I said, like there's a lot of things that I really hope to do and all that, and I hope other people think that. But to me right now, if you could give me, I'll do this in a 2-part. If you told me I can only go out west 2 weeks out of the year and never hunt a whitetail again, this means only elk, bear, or mule deer, I would do that. And I'm a huge whitetail fanatic.
Shit, yeah, you are.
So I would do that. I would sacrifice all my whitetails to go out there 2 weeks out of the year.
That's impressive.
And the second part is that I think that I kind of lost it.
It's okay. It's a 2-parter.
It's a 2-parter, and
Yep.
that's just kind of just messed me up, man. Well, I had
You just had a little panic attack when
I
you
just
thought about
did,
getting
man.
rid of all of your whitetail hunts.
Oh my god, my whitetail!
It's zapped.
Oh, this is I remember. This is at this point in my life, I rather spend more money on getting my teeth kicked in than buying a hunt that is almost not guaranteed. Like private land's not guaranteed.
Right.
Like I don't want to lease stuff.
Yeah.
Like if it's cheap, I'll do it. Like, and I'm talking $300, $400, $500. $500, anything more on a lease. I don't care if it's 1,000 acres. If they said $600, it's not for me. I rather just go get my teeth kicked in. So I rather do stuff that's get to test you, who you are.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. This is part of my life, and I don't want. No, you don't have to live by me. Like I'm not that guy.
There's a lot of people that live like that, though. There's a lot of people that today, in this day and age, with the way that this sport and this lifestyle has taken off, there are a lot of people like you and I and other people that I've listened to recently, especially like Jacob Sklenner. Have you ever listened to him? I'll show you some of his stuff. I might have said his last name wrong. I'm not sure. But anyway, he's this young kid out in Wisconsin. He just said something the other day, like he was almost at his wit's end, like just with himself as a human, but hunting saved him. And I think there's a lot of people who find it's really easy to get lost in this world. Mm-hmm. Like what am I supposed to be doing? I don't feel like I have a purpose. For a lot of us, and I don't know if this is you, but I think it's me, I never really felt like what I do for a living defines me. Mm-hmm. I'm a father. I played sports. I have a good job, but I just never felt like it was enough. And I don't know. I can't say that me hunting sets me over the edge. Like I can't say that that's what it is. Like that's my purpose, but I feel like I'm really close to figuring it out. Mm-hmm. And I don't think I would have been in this position to even say that I feel close to figuring it out without being in the outdoors. There's something about being outdoors and challenging yourself as a man that
helps you get to that place where you feel whole.
Yeah, 100%. I don't know if that's like instinctual or something. Like, I totally get that. Like,
Yeah.
And like some people are probably saying, well, you guys are crazy. Like,
I am.
my wife and my kids are the best thing that ever happened to us.
They are.
They are.
Yeah.
100%. But there's a certain time as a man or a woman, you know, you kind of just lose your purpose.
Yeah.
I feel like. And you get out there and you kind of just, that's why I really just like test my, like, it's like almost like one of them adrenaline highs. Like you get out there and you just like, I want to push my body to, or push my soul or whatever to a certain extent. Like when a doe comes like 10 yards from me, dude, and just is looking at me like, you know, they can see the whitest of your eyes.
Oh, yeah.
At that moment. And you're squinting. You're doing safety squints at them. And you're looking at them. And you just know. And then she just turns her head and whoa. It's just like the biggest victory. And then just like, but bucks, I think the monarch doe is way more elusive.
It is something else.
Than the big bucks, man. I have this one girl, I call her my girlfriend. Me and my brother-in-law. We share a property. And she was called my girlfriend. 150 yards away, I hear this. Okay, so this is what happened. If you want to, I'm sorry, I'm jumping.
No, you're fine. I don't care.
Okay, so I had this like 130, 140 inch buck trailing this doe, right by lateral wind to me, screen written stuff. It was a little windy. That's the key point right here. This doe's walking. It's gonna skirt me 12 yards or something. Probably on the path. It's gonna squirt me. So she gets about 20 yards. This buck is behind a tree, and she comes through a tree, and this other buck is about to go through that tree. I start to draw my bow back, and I get back, and this doe goes past that tree, and this buck is beyond that other tree, and he's behind that tree she was just at, and a branch falls from that. Wind blows a branch down right in front of this doe, and that doe just looks right at me and just pins me. I'm like, what? She goes, snorts, runs away. That buck kind of didn't know what was going on. He goes away. I'm like, no. Like, the hunting gods definitely just did not.
They were laughing at you.
Yeah. So long story short, like 2-3 days later or something, I'm in this tree, like I said, like 120 yards away. I hear this doe is blowing. And I'm looking, my wind's blowing the total opposite way, and she's just blowing at me. I go, no. Come on. I'm not moving. There's no way. 3 weeks later, I quit that spot. 3 weeks later, I go to a different tree. I'm at this different tree, and this girl at like 80 yards just sits there and blows for like an hour and 45 minutes.
Oh, come on.
Just I was about to get down and literally go stalk this thing down like Last of the Mohegans, dude. And then my brother-in-law, there's a ladder stand like 30-40 yards away from there. Every time he goes in there, she'll blow at him. I was like, dude, I ruined that spot so bad. And I could never kill her. Because we at this one particular property, our farmer doesn't want us to kill does.
Yeah.
No question. I don't know why. It drives me insane. Buck to doe ratio is probably 30 does to 1 buck or whatever, dude. It's insane on balance. It's not healthy at all, but so.
This is the trouble. If anybody can hear this in the background, this is the problem. There's nobody home in my house right now. It's just me and Joe podcasting in the basement, and my dog is a puppy. She's 15 months old, and God forbid a squirrel or a human walks in front of my house, she's going to fucking bark incessantly. And so I'm sorry, but there's nothing I can do about this.
Yeah. I thought it was an Amazon driver or something.
I mean, it could be. There is something supposed to be delivered today. Oh, my fuck. All right. I'm going to go upstairs and put her in the cage. Oh, sorry, man.
You're good.
Okay. Where were we?
Me trying to break up with my girlfriend.
That's right. 30-1 does the bucks ratio.
Yeah, you're good. Yeah, I mean, just stuff like that just can really just frustrate you.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't know, man. I love the journey, and it's been really cool.
And documenting it now, and with the podcast, and you have got some fantastic guests. I know you weren't on the show, but you had just had a baby, and so we all understand that. But when the Matts
or Matt and Mike had on Lindsay.
Yeah.
That episode was really, really, really informative.
Yeah, I was pretty bummed I missed that one.
Yeah.
There was a good reason, but
yes.
But yeah, I mean, it's
so the
great.
show, yeah, excellent.
Thank you.
Great guests, an opportunity to not only meet new people, but grow and expand your horizons and document all of your adventures, and then do things like this where I was on your podcast, now you're on my podcast, and everyone always talks shit about that, but I don't really care.
Who talks shit about that?
Oh, dude, people are like, stop having
so many people. Like your one guy, Jay, was it Jay? Or the guy that you just had on, Jason?
Jay, the guy from my hockey team.
Yeah. Like, there's only so many people no one knows about. You know what I mean? Like,
that's right.
I can find one person that no one knows out of 30 that's already been on podcast. Like, there's only so many people, because that's the thing about social media. Like, it's definitely a double-edged sword, and it is the root of a lot of evil.
Sure.
And but there's a lot of good, because
Yes.
I met a lot of, like you said, I met a lot of great people.
Yeah.
But there's only so many people. I mean, who am I going to ask? The guy that posts 3 pictures a year of deer, just like 2 trail cam pictures and him standing over a food plot or something? Or, or you that post constantly and, you having an audience. It's not like all about clicks. Like, oh, this person's going to give me so much more following. It's like, no, I just want to have a conversation with him.
Yeah.
And that's the way we do it, because no one person's alike. No one hunts the same. So, and no one hunts the same. Well, technically, not a lot of us hunt the same area.
Yeah.
So if I go to Kansas or wherever, and I want to talk to somebody that hunts Kansas, like, because my Michigan whitetail tactic is probably not going to. How good are our Michigan whitetail tactics out in Kansas?
Almost non-existent.
Exactly. Like, I can't. Like, I can talk to everybody in Michigan, but like that. But that's the good thing about the podcast.
Yeah. It is. And you're growing. You're growing by leaps and bounds.
Oh my.
Hold on a second. When you started, you were sporadic. You said it yourself. Then you set a goal and you were consistent. And then if I remember this correctly, you set a goal to engage partners. And I think you're achieving those goals, correct? So tell us about, first of all, the name of your podcast, what you're doing.
Got there.
We never even got there.
Damn.
How you do it. Like,
we went straight.
We went right into deer hunting.
Straight inspiring. Like, live your life to the fullest, but no accreditation who I am.
And that's okay.
That's
good. Totally fine.
But
it's totally fine.
I'm just an average show. That's all you have to remember. And But if you want, I say the CEO of Generations To Hunt.
Love it.
There's an inside joke. I will tell you after this. But if anybody ever thinks I'm serious about that, it's not. But my podcast is called Generations Hunt. And like you said, I was sporadic. And there was a certain time I was sitting down, having a moment. And I was like, you know how this is. Sometimes editing 10, 11 o'clock at night. You just got done putting the kids down. And, I got to work in 3 or 4 hours. I just sat down and go, Joe, you're taking time away from your family sometimes doing this podcast and all that, and you really have to pick something. Like, you are you going to do this or you're not going to do this? And I said, I'm going to do this, because I went like a month without an episode on. I had one guest on, and he was a great guest. It was Elliot Hubbard, and I think I just sat down right after adding that one. And I go, I'm not going to miss a week, and I did that. I did one whole year, not missing a week. And that's the best thing I did. It wasn't even doing an episode a week. It was hitting my goal. Now I was like, wow, that's crazy, goal. So, and then now we have partners and all that align with us. Latitude Outdoors. They're one of the best people.
Phenomenal.
In the industry. They're the best guys. And it's not because I'm going to get stuff from them. And, I wore the stuff before I even knew the guys. I just knew it was Michigan-based company. That was huge for me, being a Michigan guy. And I actually got to hang out with them before that. And all the guys are the nicest people in the world. And, man, I just couldn't talk better about that. If you're really in the market for a saddle, I'm not trying to plug this or nothing. But, I mean, there's some really good options out there. But I definitely would recommend at least checking them.
I always encourage people to do the same. I get nothing out of that. Yeah. I encourage people to try them all.
Oh, yeah.
You have got to not just take one dude's word for it. Put them on, hanging them, for fuck's sake, hanging them, because there is nothing worse than getting in something that is absolutely brutally uncomfortable and going, wish I would have dug a little deeper in my off season, and now it's fucking the rut, and you can't handle it because you got hip pinch, and it's fucking miserable.
Yeah. And I'll tell you this, dude. I'm a Matthew guy. I shoot Matthews. Best shooting bow out there is a Hoyt. 100%.
Interesting. I've never shot a Hoyt.
Hoyt is by far the best in the shooting category.
I have heard that,
but I can't shoot a Hoyt. My holdability is not there. It doesn't fit me. It doesn't. I can hold a Matthews way better.
Somebody just told me that. I just talked to a dude this weekend, and I'm pretty sure he said the same thing. He goes, I didn't like it.
Yeah, it's like I can just hold it better.
Oh, I get it. Yeah,
and the mods are a little bit more simplified for me.
Okay,
and it's just a little bit more easier for me to work on from at home, and them things added up. But the biggest thing was it just didn't shoot right.
Oh yeah,
the Hoyts just didn't shoot for it. When I went out and bought a brand new bow, I was looking at Hoyts and I was looking at Matthews, and I loved the Hoyt draw cycle, Valley, anchor. Oh God,
it's okay.
Smooth, awesome. Just couldn't settle that pin right and everything. And this is so I just went with the Matthews, and it shot great for me. And like I'm almost 10 years with the Matthews.
No shit.
And but I'm just saying that you gotta be like that. Though.
You got to.
You gotta go. Latitude. All these other brands, and they might not be for you.
And sometimes you might want to mix and match.
Oh yeah,
I'm a mix and match guy. Like
yeah.
I have a Lone Wolf platform for when I saddle hunt with the Latitude sticks. Yeah. But I always wear a Latitude saddle. Like that's my safety harness now. But then when I have my lock-on stand, my 0.5 Lone Wolf, I use the Lone Wolf sticks with it. So there's nothing wrong with mixing and matching. Like you just got to find that system that works for you, because there's so many options. But like you said, they align with you philosophically and personally they align. And I think, again, two Michigan companies, I think it's a great fit. That's super awesome that you were able to, again, set those goals and achieve them. And I think you got another one too, right?
Another sponsor?
A partner sponsor?
Yeah. Or, I hate calling them sponsors, but they're more partners, and all that. Like they're not paying me or anything like that. I got VPA, Vantage Point Archery. They just signed up for us, so we're pretty excited from them. I ran their Mega Head last year on my trad bow, and I made a subpar shot at like 32 yards with I made the shot, and I instantly knew I made a subpar shot, and I got down instantly to go get dispatch with that doe, if you want to say that word, and I knew that doe wasn't going to make it.
Oh, really? That much of a blood trail?
Oh, it would have been like maybe a minute. I maybe took a minute.
Shit.
I got videos, and it was just crazy. I was like, wow. And edge on it, awesome, and all that. And
is it a single bevel?
It is a double and a single bevel.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. I don't know a ton about fixed blade broadheads. I've run one broadhead for 3 years now. I don't plan to change until something goes wrong, or if something goes wrong. But I am very curious about these fixed blade single bevel, double bevel options, bleeders, and so on and so forth. I don't know enough about them. Tell me a little bit about this one.
So this one has actually a flat edge working surface with them. So there is you just have to lay it flat to sharpen it. So there's not multiple jigs you need or anything like the other ones on the market right now that are double and single. Sometimes you need like the stay sharps and all that. But basically with that, sometimes they have that single bevel up front for that bone breaking chisel. And the double the double will help cut it better, and then the single too helps twist it. So there's like a combined factor, just twisting and braking power and all that. So
that to me is the most attractive feature that I've heard somebody explain. So Aaron Blicey always explains how it turns as it cuts on those broadheads that they use.
The helixes are single bevel, right?
And it's I don't know, but it's something that I didn't know happened, and so that's really intriguing to me.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes you're going to make subpar shots, and, if you get in that shoulder, you want it after you hit that bone, you want something to keep driving, to spinning it and all that.
And do you hunt in really thick shit?
Just this year, this last like half of my year, I was thick stuff, but no, not really too much thicker stuff. Like, I don't get me wrong, I ran expandables for a while because I just 60 yards, and people are probably screaming at me like 60 yards on a whitetail. What? Like, dude, I could fry anything at 60 yards, dude. I could hit a tic tac at 60 yards.
Damn.
No, but I'm just saying, like, dude, you could get them things tuned.
Yeah.
Just tunability on them.
That's why I love them right now.
You could just, if there's any problem with your bow, sometimes that stuff will outpass it. You can drive past the tuning of on an expandable. And like, I ran the Severs, great head, had no failures with them. And I ran one of my first bucks. I did an old Swacker,
Yeah.
Great broadheads, man. But I just think with the fixed blade, we're just getting to the thicker stuff, and then I'm really getting into trad right now. I just think that's the way to go. And the good thing about, I'm not trying to shamelessly plug.
I'm
EPA,
curious, man. I want to know. Yeah.
They have so many options. They have
Okay.
dude, they have 75 grains all the way up to like 250 grains.
Oh shit!
So you can go nuts with it.
That's a heavy damn broadhead right there.
And they have a lot of styles. Like, they go from all the what. They have single bevels, double bevels. They have like a turkey spur. Like, they have a lot of good options. So that was really cool to me, because I want people to be able, not like, I like these guys, I want to support them, but they don't have nothing, that company, for me. I think VPA has something for everybody. So that was really cool for them to sign on with us and all that. And they're just great people too there. So I haven't met them in person. I've done a lot of communication behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah.
But
I'll have to check that out. I'm really curious about all that stuff about the turning of the single blade after the initial penetration.
Yeah,
like,
and I could be saying that a little bit wrong, but I think it for like double bevel and single bevel, but like the single bevel is like the biggest thing. It's like a corkscrew. You got one that's like cutting and just,
I love that,
just going in there.
And I find myself in some this year in Kansas, I was stubborn and I didn't just hunt from the ground, and I think that's a lot of the problem. But so I would find myself in these trees in good spots, but it was so fucking thick. And, you hear these horror stories of these expandable broadheads, in that thick shit just not functioning correctly, or opening prematurely, and that's a concern. If I'm going to put myself on these adventures, these once in a lifetime, couple times in a lifetime adventures that are expensive, I want to know that the gear that I have is going to work when I need it to work the most. And I think I'm being a little short-sighted on my stubbornness to change broadheads. So I really want to look into that more.
Yeah, and and I don't want to be like a super survivalist or anything like that, but I'm getting to a point where like my camo mismatched and all that, because I have like Western style, I say that quotation mark, and like, I don't need 15 pairs of fucking camo. I don't need pairs that I need for the mountains. I just need stuff that works.
Right.
And the expandables, you have them collars and all that. If that deploys and I'm in the middle of the backcountry or something, I don't have them bands on me, that's another thing to go wrong. Yeah. So, and it's just like, I just want I can't even say that, simplicity.
Sure.
Simplicity in
that makes sense.
In my stuff. I'm just trying to. I'm like trying to go there. I think we're complicating stuff, and
humans have a tendency to do that.
And my buddy Adam Miller, he always tells me this is why we go so hard on our gear, is because this is the one thing we can control in the woods, is what we bring out in the woods. And that's why we go so nuts about it, is because it's the only thing we can basically control when we're hunting these wild animals.
That's right.
And all that. So I'm trying to just draw I really need to find a small backpack, because I bring way too much stuff. I'm like, could survive 3 days.
Damn, I was going to tell you, I got a K's pack from Trophy Line for sale, but that's humongous.
Yeah.
Because I just told myself, it's too big for me, man.
Yeah. I just got too many pockets. I can just start digging stuff, and it's cool that at the end of the season when you start digging stuff out and you go,
oh, there it is.
I got 3 knives and all this other stuff.
I'm a knife hoarder, I think.
Oh, yeah. I don't, funny story is, I one time didn't have a knife, and I was sitting there with the deer, and I'm like, what am I doing, man? That was up north, man. My dad gave me a racing for that, but yeah, I definitely hoard some.
So back to the podcast.
Okay. Sorry.
No, you're good. I'm just kind of bringing it home.
No,
so
keep us aligned.
Where do you want to go from here?
Oh, yeah.
Where do you want Generations to Hunt to go? So listen, you have set goals and you have achieved goals, and that's inspirational, man. I got goals up there too. So where do you want to take Generations to Hunt from here?
Okay.
Or do you?
Well,
are you happy?
I am happy. I'm
good.
And I tell this, I will do, we're well over 100 episodes right now. And I will do a whole another 100 episodes just to get one person outside. Just one person. That's all. All that work, all that time, all that coordination, all that money, I will do it just to get one person outdoor. Because like I said earlier, I felt robbed. Like I did hunt when I was a kid, you know, but it wasn't as much. I lost touch of it, and then I came back to it, and I just kind of look back and I go, what could have been if I was that hunting kid or whatever? And I'll be damned if I don't have my kids out there with me. And if they don't want to do it, that's all right. I'm not gonna be mad, but it's just part of life. But there's a certain part where I just think in this society that people are missing out on so much. I'm not saying hunting deer, just getting out there. There's so much stuff that you can do. Shooting clay, sporting clay, and just like even shed hunting or something like. I don't know, man. It's just like we said, we found ourselves, and I was a shitty kid, to be honest. Like I was a shitty kid. I'm so glad I moved away from my hometown and found my work ethic, and then I came back, and like I always thank my dad. My dad taught me two things in life, and hunting was one of them, and then the other one was working. But hunting always came first. So that's why I kind of just been living my life as. So for the podcast, I just want to I'm not an inspiring guy, but I just want people just to know it's an available option. Just if you have a tough time, like I lost my job around a year ago, last June, I lost my job and moved away, and I didn't know what to really do. So you just kind of go out there and you just look at the world and you kind of just go, what am I going to do? You got a family and all this other stuff. Like, man, like, people don't talk about male suicide that much, and I wasn't at that level. Like, I had a lot of support and all that, but I'm just saying, if I was even a weaker man and I didn't have the core group I had now, I couldn't imagine somebody that could be turning for somebody.
And I think it is. I think it happens a lot.
And if you don't have, and like luckily I have a lot of good friends I've met through the podcast, and I don't think I talked to all my group of like friends from high school. I probably talked to like one of them, but the rest of all my friends are hunting related. Maybe it'll change a little bit when I get kids and stuff, a little bit older, but like this like community is just insane, dude.
It's weird. You spend so many years with people in school and you're tight and you see them every day and you go to the same classes and you learn the same things and you read the same books and you know the same people and you go to the same restaurants and you ride the same bus, and then you get out of school and you become an adult and you realize I don't have anything in common with these people. And when I look at Facebook and the friends that I have, I like the people that I am still friends with on Facebook. But I don't have a lot in common with people other than we are humans and most of us have families.
Yeah, that's the thing, is it's just kind of, I don't know. That's what's so great about the outdoors is, like, I don't think we would talk anymore. I mean, we worked together for a brief time, and if hunting wasn't, you would just have been another face to my thing.
That you worked with one time.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we have this in common, and we have similar values and goals and likes, and because of that, I consider us friends, and we talk, and we are engaged in what each other are doing. Whereas somebody that I sat with and on the bus or in class with for years, I couldn't tell you what that dude does on a day-to-day basis. I don't know what you do on a day-to-day basis, but I know what you do for a living. I don't know what that dude does for a living. No. And I don't even care.
Right. Yeah.
It's cool. I like to see that you have cute kids and that you love them, and that's great, but we have nothing in common anymore.
And there's certain times, like, I think you experienced this in Kansas. It was probably grueling, and I think you were going through a rough time. did you have a really good support group?
I didn't have any support group.
So was it kind of miserable?
It got to a point where it sure would have been nice to bounce some stuff off of some people. Yeah.
So, and now if you go back now, you definitely have.
Oh, yeah. And I hear so many people say, oh, I reached out to so-and-so who was technically a stranger, and he got back to me and helped me figure some things out, and I killed a big buck.
Yeah.
Like
it's just like that. You can really find some good friends in them dark moments.
Sure.
And stuff. Like, because, like, I experienced it last year, and like I like, disclaimer, like, I'm not a big buck killer. I haven't killed like 60 bucks like your buddy that just was on here. Like, it's really hard to like follow your guests, because you had like, didn't you have Matt, or were you on Matt's podcast?
We did a little bit of both. So I had Matt on really early in the show, and then I was just on his.
Yeah, so like, I can't like compete with them guys, but you know what I mean, and like Jake, I can never say his last name. It starts with a B. He's from
Jake Hunts, Michigan.
Yeah, Jake Hunts, Michigan. Yeah, like him, like stuff like them. Them guys are just like, oh my god, man, like I can't compare to them guys. So I'm not that guy. But there's a certain time where like I got super depressed. I call it BBD. Yeah, big buck depression.
Oh yeah.
So, and when you get to that mind game of these mature, how it is when these, you hunt these 4.5, 5.5-year-old deers, they will wear you down. And people don't. I don't think there's a lot of people. I think there's a lot of hunters out there. I'm not trying to discredit anybody, but there's a lot of people that I don't think they know what it is, and don't know how. They wouldn't know how to actually handle that situation. You know what I mean?
And even more, I don't think those people care enough to get past that.
Yeah.
That's why so many people go, fuck it, this is good enough.
Yeah, this 110, whatever.
Yeah.
There's a lot of luck into it.
And like you're saying, you are worn out by it.
Yeah.
But it's also what drives you.
Yeah. It's it's like just letting like some deer go, and you take a picture and people go, what? Like, I laid eyes on something else. Like I had one guy named Eugene, or deer Eugene. I name a deer, whatever. Get over
it's
it.
Okay.
You know who Eugene is?
Yeah.
From Mr. Krabs. Mr.
Krabs. I thought you were talking about your deer story, because I know that too.
You know who Eugene is, but his name is Eugene.
So my brother had an accountant that used to do his taxes, and his name was also Eugene, and he would eat chili dogs like
while doing taxes.
While like talking to them about their taxes. So there's a lot of Eugenes.
What's his name? What's his name? Or I mean, what's his accounting?
I don't know.
I'm going to that guy.
I have to ask him,
because that's a guy. This is what you do when you. I'm your financial advisor right now. You go to Yelp and you go to your tax guy, or you go to tax services, and then you click on that 1-star report. That's the guy that's going to get you the most back. Yeah. Technically, it might not be legal.
It's right. That's really good. That is good advice.
Yeah.
Let it be known.
Yeah.
Tax advice with Uncle Joe.
Yeah, like
that's a new segment.
Better Call Saul, like lawyers too. That's too. You get that lawyer that's a 1-star.
You need to start a new segment on your show every single week. Financial advice with Uncle Joe.
Oh my God, you'd go bankrupt real quick. But for what we're talking about, like the
passing on bucks, and that journey to a mature deer, there are certain people that will just get to a point where they go, it's not worth it anymore. I'm going to shoot the next thing that walks in front of me.
Yeah, and there's some points I should have settled probably, and it's hard to tell this to your significant other or whoever it is.
Oh, yeah.
They just don't understand. And there's some people, and that's where the Instagram comes in. I'm a podcast host, and I didn't kill a deer in 2 years, or a buck in 2 years.
Yeah.
That's definitely going to be some discredit. It's in my eyes, people be like, well, you haven't killed nothing in 2 years, but it's not their tag or whatever you want to say. It's my journey, if you want to say it, and that could be a bullshit excuse, but
I think you and I both know and preach it's more than just that.
Yeah,
and I think you are living the lifestyle, which is different than these people who are questioning you. Yeah. You are going to those hunt camps. You are experiencing more than just the kill. And just because you didn't kill a buck in 2 years, you're living the life. You are walking the walk, and because hunting is those years where you don't harvest the buck.
Yeah.
That's the reality.
And there's a certain sense of where I did a little bit of out-of-state hunting last year, and that was my first big taste of it. And I want to get to a point where I can go to somewhere else and it's not going to be the same as here, but it's not going to be, that property that produces decent deer every year. It's not like that. And there's a lot of people out there and that's your thing. Keep doing it. They keep doing it. But I want to be able to go to a certain area and be able to at least see one or get on one. And you have to measure your success in different ways. It's not just a buck on the ground sometimes. It's seeing deer. You got to have attainable goals. You can't just go, I want to go to Kansas. I want to kill a 150. Like sometimes you just got to go out there. 2 years ago, I wanted to go up north to an area I'd never been to, a pressure public land, and I wanted to just see certain deer. And I went up there and I seen a deer every sit while there was 30 people at camp. And we didn't, I would say 27 out of them 30 people didn't even see a deer the whole trip.
Oh, that's depressing.
Yeah.
That'll wear your ass out.
Yeah. So, and then there's maybe, and I think there was more than 30 too. So I'm just being elaborate. There's a lot of people that didn't see deer. So I'm just saying I was making goals. I wanted to see deer. I actually harvested 2 does up there.
Nice.
Way past my goals. But there's you have to have attainable goals. You just can't just go, all right. My podcast, I want to be Joe Rogan. Me and Joe Rogan are going to be sitting at the same table.
You're going to get 100,000 downloads next month.
Yeah, 100,000. Oh my God. I don't even know. And there's a certain point when I started the podcast too, I was looking at why, how do I grow? And then I got to a point where I was probably 3/4 of the, or 1/3 of the year in, and I didn't even look at the numbers for the rest of the year. And I was looking at the end of it, I was like, holy moly. And it was great. It was, but I think there was a certain point that was the best thing for me is not care what other people were doing or whatever. So, because that's social media.
Oh, it eats at you.
Oh, I got hooked into it too.
Well, not thinking about what anybody cares about, not caring what anybody thinks about you kind of carries into what another question I have for you is you have historically set very specific goals for yourself as far as bucks are concerned every year. I know that because I listen to you and we have talked. Do you ever reconsider how you set your goals to change how your season may go? I sense that you're a little frustrated with your local Michigan property, your private piece. Do you ever reconsider how you set your goals, making concessions to make it a little easier on yourself? Or is that not who you are?
What would you say? Just me, just saying I'm gonna just bring a gun out or something, or
no,
or lower my standards.
Lower your standards.
No. And this bull, if it was private, it'd be 150. If it's public, it's 120. I really don't have that. I want to just shoot a mature deer, but and I probably gotta lower my standards a lot. I definitely probably have to lower that because I got to that point where I was looking at all my other friends from Iowa, Illinois, and all this, and they're shooting 150s and all this, and I'm like, I want to shoot 150 in Michigan is pretty.
I've never seen one.
Yeah, well, I've seen some, and I missed them.
I'm sure that they're there. I know that they have been on my private property. I've had them on camera. I've never seen them on the hoof. So I know they exist down there. Yeah. We had probably a 160 down there for a couple years in a row, and he's gone forever now. So, but I just don't know. I haven't figured out how to get on him here.
Okay. And let me put this in enlightenment for some people. And this is not me bragging at all. This is showing you what I'm dealing with and all this. So we had near one of our properties that we've hunted, we had a 190 shot right down the road, or 150 yards from one spot I even said. So, and then I've had multiple encounters with Eugene last year was probably 160, 170s all day. And then there was a buck that we had got hit by a car, and somebody cut the head off before we could. It was in velvet actually. We could tell from it, but we called them Coke cans. His bases were bigger than Coke cans, and he was probably 180.
Holy shit!
So we can produce monster deer.
We've got phenomenal habitat.
And let me tell you this: dumb deer are unicorns.
Oh yeah,
out of them deer, they're unicorns, and And to make it, like I said, that one got hit by a car. No one could predict that. And if I didn't know, the farmer didn't see that deer and tell me what he was before somebody cut the head off, I would have never known. I would have been chasing a ghost. So, but there's like certain, like to lower my goals and all that, it's hard for me to do that. It's hard for me to get out there. And I didn't have a really good season last year. I mean, it was actually a successful season still in my eyes. But, man, just like picking up a trad bow, that was probably one of the best things I should have did early on of that season, is just to get out there, just start flinging arrows. Like I missed 2 bucks with that trad bow. Like one was perfect story. I don't even know if I told this on my podcast.
You got an exclusive here.
Yeah, no, and it's definitely a fail, but it's like I was fucking laughing. So like I'm on this big like peninsula, if you would say. So I can see we hunt the property across the street too, and there's just like 300 acres of like field in between where I could go and there, but it's like, you know, a square. It's unhuntable, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's just open field, and I see this buck coming from the other eye. I see a bunch of deer and, you know, binoculars. I'm going, that's a decent buck. It was probably 125, 130 at least, and I had the trad boa, and he's like I said 300 yards, and he's running, and like I'm on the inside the peninsula, like the crotch of your finger, if you would say, and I thought he was going to go to the far east end. I was like that, and I was like, he's not going to hook right. He gets to the right, and he just hooks right to me. I'm shaking, dude. I'm like, he's not going to run in front of me he was like 30 yards, like on a path, 30 yards parallel with the woods. He's just trotting, running, just kind of just like looking, you know, he was scent checking. Oh, because my field, all my stuff was blowing right out in the field, and he was scent checking all that peninsula, and he was just, I was like, no, and I just get my trad bow out, and it was like, I'm not set up to shoot in the field because everything's parallel. Either they were coming off the edge of it and they were going to mock scrape or hitting the scrape line, or they were coming transitioning. There's like in that crotch of that peninsula, they were going to be transitioning from there to the finger or to there or whatever. And so I'm not set up. So it's my weak side. Got a longbow or recurve, whatever you want to call it. And he comes in, I just like 30 yards. I just kind of gap shoot. I don't know if you know what gap shooting is. Okay, yeah, I gap. I go, all right, this should go shoot in front of him. And as soon as my string breaks, I go, no, I just start laughing. Just before he even hits, it just goes right in front of him. Oh my God. But that, you know, that's just like, it's just like the perfect picture story moment. And you just fumble the bag, and it's just funny. You gotta laugh at it.
It is funny.
You
that's part of what makes it enjoyable is taking all of those things and going, this is part of it. This is why I do it. For these experiences, these stories. You can tell that story for generations to come. This, you know, and that's what I said the other day. I was like, I want to always remember all of these deer. I want to remember every single hunt. I want to remember the fuck ups in Kansas. I want to remember that, man. I don't ever want to forget that stuff. That's all part of it.
And I'll tell you another funny story. My brother, I miss Eugene, my target buck. Like I said, he's like 106, 170, mainstream 8, and with two carriers. He has 10 points, but he's like,
damn.
But so I missed out on Thanksgiving, kicked myself in the teeth and all that. But whatever. My brother-in-law sat that same blind like 2-3 days later. He shot at this deer, Eugene, 6 or 7 times. I can't remember off the top of my head. He shot so many times. It was the 450 Bushmaster. He shot so many times. You know them little, like for the blinds, it's like the cord or whatever that has that little black knob.
Yeah.
He blew every one of them off the blind because there was so much concussion in that blind. Because he was shooting so much. It was just poof, poof, and all that. And he had to call it to work too, because he couldn't hear it because he didn't have hearing protection. But my brother-in-law is like a really big inspiration to me. He's 40, so like
you almost say he's a little bit of an old man.
No, he's a little bit older.
I was going to take offense.
No, because like he's actually, I've missed more bucks because of that guy, than any person I ever met, and he is my worst enemy, and he's my best inspiration as a hunter. He's a guy that just doesn't care, goes out with the crossbow, still knocking 140s down in Michigan. You can talk crap about him all you want, but he's not going to change his ways because he
loves it.
He's still a great hunter and all this. But he's told me 2 times he's harvested a 144-inch buck and a 148-inch buck. I want to say it was I go, what stand should I shoot? What stand should I go to? I sit in another one. I watch that deer walk by, and the next following day, he goes and kills that deer. I shit you not. He is but I mean, he's a great guy, and I wish I could get him on my podcast, but he's just not one of them guys.
He won't do it. Huh?
No, I've never really I've mentioned that, and he's just never really. I'm not gonna push him and all that. But let me tell you how badass my brother-in-law is, and I'm gonna brag about him a little bit. So we had these Summit sticks and all this. My brother-in-law, we called it, or we don't call it anymore. I can't tell you that. I'll spoil it.
Okay.
So he was coming down a stand, and these Summit sticks, I have to show you. It's weird how they come. It's like tree sticks. But they have these little boot grooves.
Okay.
That help you for traction.
Sure.
So the last step was about 3-4 feet off the ground. So you had to hop off.
Mm-hmm.
So when you got up, you got to go like this. Well, he hopped off with his wedding ring on, and it took his finger off.
Oh!
Yeah, degloved it. So since that day, since he called me the following day, I've never wore my wedding ring ever again unless it's on a special occasion. Never in the woods, never at work again. But so he goes in there. They go
uncomfortable.
Yeah, so he goes, I'm sorry if it makes people cringe. And he goes, they go, hey, we can't save it. I mean, we could maybe put it, like, sew it in your stomach and the skin grows back on it. He's like, no, just take it. So he takes it.
Fuck.
A week later, the dude goes out on the same stand and shoots like a 130-inch buck, dude.
That is gangster.
Dude. And the stand is called Finger Taker now, but
Finger Taker.
But he has a permanent shocker. So
he does, doesn't he?
Yeah, he has a permanent shocker. So his he doesn't.
Can you, for anybody that doesn't know, can you tell everybody what the shocker is?
I don't know.
You lying sack of shit.
It's where you put this finger in an electrical socket, right?
Uh-huh.
Is that why I call it shocker?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
But and if he ever was to get an outdoor company, it would have to be called Shocker Outdoors. But yeah, I mean, sorry to go on a rant about my brother-in-law, but I don't talk about him much on my podcast, but he's just a really good dude. And there's dudes like that people don't even
that's exactly right.
Don't even know my brother-in-law exists, and he goes out there and he'll rack down the biggest bucks ever, dude. And the guy's a killer. And no one knows. Funny. He does. I mean, I think he has a Facebook,
but he probably doesn't use it like we use it
at all.
Yeah.
Like he just gets tagged. Like sometimes he'll be like, "Hey, did you see that whoever's Chevy dealership's $50 off a car wash or something like that's the only time he's like looking for deals. Like I think he's a marketplace dude too, but
that's why I have it.
And but I mean, there's like a lot of good stuff. I don't even know what your original question was. It was something about the podcast, about changing my goals and stuff. But
yeah, that's okay. You answered my question.
Okay.
You aren't willing to lower your expectations and your goals, and you don't want to.
But don't get me wrong. If I'm standing out there and like 120-inch comes out there and it just rattles me somehow,
mm-hmm.
I might. I'm getting close to this mic, and I might. You know, it's just, I don't know. It's all situational.
100%. And I think it should be, because I think if you are too firm in your expectations, you will play off. Like if you start to get excited, you'll talk yourself down.
Yeah.
And then you're going to miss out on an opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah. And if it was out in like that one property I'm at, like, and I know like Eugene or somebody's walking around, or that's why I'm out there.
Right.
Like, this is why I'm out here. Like, don't lose focus. Like this is like, but I don't know. It's just such a weird, I'm a weird guy, man. I'm an odd duck. I was born on an odd year. So that's what just happens. You know,
I understand. I'm a weird guy as myself.
Yeah. And like, I call myself average, Joe, but like my brain does not work. Like you can just tell.
You're above average, Joe.
No.
Wait, no, that's not what you meant?
No.
Oh.
No. Well, No, I'm saying below.
Listen, man, you can't just start a podcast on a whim and figure it out and then do all this stuff.
100%
But
you can.
be below average.
Well, yeah, for sure. You 100%. Listen, this is America. I can do whatever.
I mean, you
want.
physically are you are welcome to.
I shoot my bow a lot. Like, I think like 10,000 a year is probably a light year. I'll probably have 10,000 this year.
That's a lot of arrows.
Yeah, I burned through some strings.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Like, do you do strings every year?
Oh yeah. Sometimes 2 strings.
Seriously?
Yeah, I'll burn 2 strings.
Holy shit!
Just serving separation. I don't stretch out.
Yeah.
But like I said, I'm just burning through them. I'm just lighting up. Them big shot targets and stuff, like them blocks like them, I couldn't do that.
I get one every year.
Yeah, I burn through them. Like I probably go through.
The old ones that are out there, I have to have like a double now. So
Yeah.
there's like the little. Well, I blew the legs off with the old big buck target, so now he's just
Glendale?
stumpy, and now he sits in front of the block, the first block, and then my second block's at 30 because it's not. It'll blow through there. But it's close to needing to be replaced.
Yeah. But and don't get me wrong too. Like I'm rough on my equipment. Like my target bow. Well, actually, it was my hunting bow. It was a Matthews TRX. If anybody knows, it was a white bow. Oh my god, you should have seen it at the end of the year, just covered in mud, like the muddiest spot that I hunted this year was the muddiest you ever, the thickest mud you ever seen in your life, dude. And it's just I trash my stuff, like, and that's like why I like good gear and stuff. Like if it can't handle my lifestyle, like dude, if I'm throwing in the back of the I'm not like whipping my bow in the back seat or nothing. Like, but if it can't handle that, I don't want it.
I agree with that.
Roughing my stuff. Besides my camera, that's the only thing. That's my baby. Like I'm not that good a photographer or nothing, but I'm like, dude, I paid a lot of money for this, so you got to be careful.
So, do you have any like what are your 2024 hunting plans? Like just Michigan?
Yeah, since I just had a newborn, so like a month ago, literally.
Congratulations!
Thank you so much, man. It was a surprise to me too. So no, not when it came out, like when we got pregnant. So it was. I'm just saying it was.
Holy shit, a baby!
No, it wasn't that. It was one of them situations. It was more the like. If anybody wants to know about my lifestyle, like me and my wife couldn't have one naturally. And the first one wasn't naturally; it was through IVF, and then this one happened to happen when I lost my job, and I was literally jobless when I found out, basically. And I was like, wow, this is awesome for the stress and prostate. So, but what was I saying? Oh, my plans this year. Yeah, dude, it's going to be, everything's going to be on cuff this year.
Okay.
And I don't want to say like whitetail and adrenaline on cuff. It's going to be like, I don't have no plans, but I want to go hard, but I got to be a family man too.
Sure.
So like, I got to make sure. Because this year, I don't think I'm going to go too deep. I'll do maybe Indiana, Ohio. Those are my 2 on my radar. No Kansas, no nothing. Iowa should be next year.
Now, do you buy preference points every year, even though you don't plan to go?
Yeah. I like Utah, Wyoming. I got a bunch. Montana, I got a bunch. New Mexico, I got a couple in there, but that's gonna be like a 15-year draw or something for elk or whatever. Wyoming, Montana, Utah. I want to try to go out there and either Colorado and do some elk hunting this year. I got invited. Last year we couldn't do it, and this year I was gonna do it. If the one person that I think might invite me this year, I kind of got to go if it happens, but I don't think my wife will let me. Or Montana bear hunting this spring, I really want to do, but I don't think I can do that with a new baby.
Ooh, that's a lot. You just went from I'm not going to do too much to I kind of want to do this.
But I know it's not like I'm not telling you I'm going to do that. There's like 2 things on my docket that I really want to do. Like if my wife was like, you can't go out of state whitetail hunting, but you can go do this bear hunt, I'd be like, fuck yeah. Like
that's nice.
Screw whitetails. And they're like, you can't go out at whitetail at all, and you can go out elk hunting. I'd be like,
nice.
I don't know. That'd be a tough one. I really like whitetails.
So whenever this comes out, this is your friendly reminder. If you want to apply in Kansas, you should be doing that now.
Yeah.
Or
today, right?
if you just want to buy, today, April 1st. Yeah. Or if you just want to buy a preference point, do that too.
I heard it was tough to buy just a preference point. Somebody said
it was very easy. I went in and did it today.
And I thought it was really easy. But Iowa has the best point system.
So that's I bought my first point last year. Planned to buy a point this year. I've been going to Kansas 2 years in a row, but I decided I'm not going to this year, and I'm okay with that.
Congrats.
I'm bought a point. I'm going to do Michigan, Illinois, Ohio, and then because my new territory is Michigan and Ohio, so I'm not. It's kind of weird now, but
yeah, I had a Kansas Tally last year, and I burned that one.
Yeah, that's
well, I lost my job. That was a huge lost my job like 4 months before I was supposed to go.
Right,
and it was just like, well, I can't recover from this. And that was a tough one. That was a tough pill to swallow because I already paid. I didn't want to do a guide, but I wanted to go hunting with my buddy Matt, and I'm kind of glad I didn't go because he got burned.
After that story, I believe it.
He got burned bad by that outfitter. I would have. Oh my God, man! I'm like a pacifist, but I would have passed my fist through his face.
Yes,
how bad that story was. I was like, how were you guys this cool? And the other buddy that was there, or like Doctor, his name's Dr. Matt. There's a different Matt. About Matt, and he got his buck ruined, and I'm like, how are you just like okay with this? Like,
I would not have been. Dude, I would not have been okay with that,
dude. I would have been stealing. I would have been petty. I would have been real petty.
Mm-hmm.
But what was I talking about? Oh, things this year, right?
Yeah. What do you want to do this year?
I like I said, I think my biggest thing is I gotta hunt public land.
Yeah.
Like that's like Joe. Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Me too.
Don't focus on one deer. And like I said, I know I say stick to 140s or nothing, but it's just like you gotta have different goals. I gotta be. I don't know. That's
have you been doing any scouting?
Me, I did a little bit more south because most of my work is in Detroit. There's some areas. Should I say name drop them on here?
Nope.
No. I guess so many people. I'll slip up and we'll say one area. They're like, dude, don't say that's my spot. I'm like, yeah. Come on, man.
You and everybody else.
I know. I'll like my up north spot is 100,000 acres. I'm like, look at like try to find that area if you want, but. Yeah, I've been doing some scouting. Nothing crazy yet. I really want. There's a couple people like William Ritchie. He's a really good. Maybe like Matt or his one buddy. I think he lives up by me almost. Jason. I'm trying to think of his name. He hangs out with Matt Lear or what's his name? I'm trying to think of it.
I don't know.
But there's a couple people that I really just want to shadow.
Oh yeah.
There's
okay.
Like people like that. I've never even talked. I've talked to Matt about trailers one time. That's the only time I ever talked to Matt. And super nice guy.
Oh yeah.
But there's like some people like that. I just want to stand. Like I stand by. I don't know if you know William Ritchie.
I don't think so.
Rich. I think Richie. I always get. I'm really bad with names. But like I did like I went out to Indiana with him and just watching like people scout was just
interesting. I gotta stop saying that.
Interesting.
I listened to myself the other day and I was like, dude, you said that way too many times. So forgive me, folks.
No, I mean, like, I'm at a point where I think I'm an educated woodsman. I think I really am.
I agree with that.
So I think I can learn more. I got to be a steward. Isn't that a steward? It's a student, right? Too.
No. A steward is that you take what you've been giving and you use it well.
Okay, so I got to basically step myself back, and I got to basically like because like William showed me like I don't know. You ever seen parallel rubs? You know what a parallel rub is?
No.
Okay. So are you okay?
It's a horizontal rub?
No.
Oh, okay.
We're doing good on time. I don't have no time limit.
We're getting close. I do have to go pick up my truck.
Oh, sure. Okay.
But you're fine.
But so parallel rubs is like this is it's kind of weird to explain, but I'll try to explain it as best I can. And not like I don't know that much about it. So okay, you find a scrape line. You know where this scrape line's going.
A scrape line or a rub line?
Scrape line.
Okay.
So this is where the parallel rubs will come in.
Okay.
So if you're going down this scrape line, if you start to go on there, start looking for, if you find rubs on a pair with them, so paralleling with them.
Okay.
And then there'll be mostly deer trails, game trails. Right So when they're hitting these mature bucks, when they're hitting these scrape lines, they will rub a tree just to mark a game trail. Or a deer crossing. So they're called parallel rubs. So it's basically for them just to identify when they're going on a scrape line, to visually see that they're gonna go. They're not putting it on a scrape line where a deer or a doe, if she doesn't come to that scrape, he can go to that game trail or deer trail, whatever you want. I call them game trails now.
Yeah.
You just go to that game trail, and then he basically hits that, and it's like really opened my eyes up because if you're not finding you're finding the scrapes, but you're not finding where they're going. You just hit them parallel rubs, and you go, and then you look, and you go. You got a choice: go right, you got to go left. So you're just gonna go follow them.
No shit.
Yeah, I mean they're not always there, but they're really.
I got to keep my eyes open for that,
dude. It's really like if you find like a good one, it doesn't work on edges as much. It's more timber scrape lines and stuff.
Good,
like that, stuff like that, and like stuff like that, like. And that's not me saying that's a game changer. Like you find them,
right?
The buck's dead. But it's like stuff like that. I would never known that if I.
No, I've never even heard of such a thing.
Yeah, like and I like he was telling me about it, and I was like, kind of just whatever, dude. Yeah, and then he's like showing me, and I was like, what?
mind blown.
Yeah, it was just, and I was like, no way, like you knew this, and but it's like. We'd never been there before. Like, how did he know? How did he tell me this? And then it's like, okay, we found these scrapes and all this. Hey, let's find like a parallel web. I didn't want to say I'm dumb and be like, but then he was like explaining it and explaining it.
Let me know when you see one.
And then we just started finding them. I was like, what? And then I started applying it and like up north and at home. It's sometimes not much. Like in heavy ag country, it's harder, but they'll be there.
I have to keep my eyes open for that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing that nugget of wisdom.
Yeah,
there.
but that's what you have to like watch because everything's regurgitated. Right?
Oh yeah,
everything's regurgitated, and there's nothing wrong with that because there's so much information out there and so much things out there, and you gotta listen to people and
you gotta be open minded.
Yeah, 100%.
Yep. And I think that's what's nice about you have such a variety of guests.
Yeah.
And I haven't reached out to a lot of people like that yet, and I hope to do so one of these days. But where can people follow Joe and Generations to Hunt? Because like I said, you have great guests on the show.
Yeah.
I love listening to Elliot Hubbard. I loved listening to that episode with Lindsay the other day.
Yeah.
Great stuff. Where can people find it?
Basically I think Google we're on Google, but we're on like the Spotify and Apple. Them are like our bread and butter, but we have all these other ones. But Instagram, like that's my I run all the media, so like Facebook, all that. So there'll be some errors, spelling errors for sure. There'll be a lot of mistakes, some bad videoing. Like I do most all the editing and all that. I take that on, and so. But if you ever want to reach out, like Instagram is probably my best one for communication wise. And then like if you really want to know, I can give you my phone number from there. We can talk on there. But we have some Facebook, and I think our Facebook is doing decent. But like I said, like I don't gauge that much. Matt's on my other co-host. Like he just basically shows up and all that. Like I'm not dogging on him. I'm just saying that's what his part is. He shows up. Like he's on Facebook here, and he'll moderate some stuff on there. If you really want to talk to Matt, go ahead.
And it's under the Generations to Hunt.
Generations to Hunt. Yep. Just
all one word.
Probably some underscores, but
I'll tell you in like a couple seconds.
If you type in
here.
Generations to Hunt, I don't think there's anybody close to our name. So
it is Generations _to _hunt _podcast.
Oh, I didn't know it had.
There's a lot of fucking underscores, man.
Yeah, I didn't really want to do the podcast name in there. I shouldn't do that because I think the podcast is going to grow beyond that too. So
yep, Generations _to _hunt _podcast.
Awesome, I appreciate the plug.
How you do it, man.
You're way better at this than me.
I just was able to quickly grab that phone and type it in really fast.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not that good at it. Like, you want to hear me ramble for like an hour and a half hour? Like, go ahead. Like, there's gonna be some episodes where I just like put it on and just let the mic go.
You got to do it. I do them too.
It's my rawness of it, and then we'll have some great guests.
Raw dogging with Uncle Joe.
Yeah, just Daddy Davis.
Raw dogging with Daddy Davis. Holy shit.
Yeah,
it's your rapper name.
my rapper name is Little Pigment. I have a pigment disorder, so the Little Pigment is my rapper name.
Nice.
So recognize. I couldn't rap to save my life.
Joe, thank you for coming over today, dude. I appreciate you coming by on your way home from work.
Thank you, man.
I'm stealing time from you and your family, and to tell your wife I appreciate it.
No, this has been awesome, man. It's awesome to come and
gross. Couldn't help myself.
Yeah, no, but it's just been awesome to come on somebody else's podcast and kind of just talk. And there's a lot of times where we don't get enough time. But if you want to come on our podcast, we could do a merger too. You know, you talk about me buying your podcast or whatever. We can.
I really do have to go pick up my truck because I have to. I had to get all new brakes put on today, but we never talked about because I forgot to write it down, and I'm a man of lists.
Oh,
and it's not on my list. And you can ask my wife. I'm a man of lists. If she doesn't put butter on the list, I don't buy it at the store. Even if we need it, and I know we need it.
You know, it's funny when you ask, "Hey, what do we need?" We don't tell you, and then we get home, and then. But okay, sorry.
So we were gonna do. You had mentioned a challenge on Generations To Hunt podcast of whoever shoots the biggest buck wins, and everybody else has to pay for the shoulder mount.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want in.
Yeah, I know.
And we never solidified the bet.
Yeah, I know.
And that's okay. Yeah. I'm just reminding you that should we want to do that again, I would be happy to get in on that. Yeah. And then whoever shoots the biggest buck of whoever's formally commits. Whoever wins gets the shoulder mount.
I don't know, man. You just shot like 180 inch bucks.
I did not.
What is that?
It's not 180.
What is it?
I would have won, I think.
What is it?
I think it's 162 and 3/8.
So you're pretty close. You round up and it was 180. But yeah, man, there's something I don't know.
So let's talk about that again. But as we get closer to the season,
I think we should do more podcasts together.
Fine with me.
Yeah. So. I work close here. If people would like to hear this,
fuck them.
Yeah.
They're gonna hear it if they don't like it or not. I'm the goddamn CEO of this podcast.
Just two CEOs just hanging out, just fucking
big dick CEO energy here,
cutting checks and snapping necks.
Yes, that might be the name of this fucking podcast. Joe, thanks again, man.
Dude,
we'll talk soon. Thanks everybody for listening. We appreciate you so much. Like Adam said the other day, X's and O's tickle your toes.